Anyway, if you told me 7 months ago that I'd be on this stage addressing 600 business owners that get it, I would have told you you're out of your mind. All right, because 7 months ago, Jen Decker, a family friend of ours, came up to me and actually called me on the phone and said, "A favor, Grange." I said, "Sure, Jen, what is it?" She says, "I want you to look at a business for me." I said, "Well, what is it?" She goes, "Well, it's something like your business. It has to do with the deregulation of energy." I says, "Oh, that's terrific. You see, my company, Eastern Energy Solutions, we're what they call a NYSERDA ESCO, New York State Energy Research and Development Authority energy service company, and we're an energy efficiency company. And we're constantly ranked #1 in the state. We're proud of that because we live in Afton. But we also coordinate the purchasing of electricity and natural gas for large users out of Chicago, Illinois, a company called Global Energy. So I'm very familiar with this business." And so I asked her, I said, "Well, is it industrial or commercial, Jen?" She says, "It's residential." I said, "Well, I have no interest in that. It's much too small for me." And she goes, "Well, it's not for you, it's for me. You see, Michael is killing himself working. I live in Shenango County, like you. We have a 14% unemployment rate. I can't find work, and this looks like a good deal. Would you look at it for me?" I said, "Sure, I'd be happy to." So she called me and jogged my memory a couple of different times, and so finally that weekend on a Sunday, I'll never forget it, I was in my office because I'm always in the office on the weekends. I have a busy company. I work 70 hours a week and still work 70 hours a week and enjoy it very much. I'm at my desk. I said, "Well, let me get done with this." One thing that Jen did smart, she said, "Look, I want you to do me one favor. Make sure that you watch all the videos on that website. I know how impatient you are. You know, and so I want you to look at the whole thing," which was brilliant on her part. I says, "Okay, I'll do that." So I sat down, I'm at the desk, boom, I put it up, I fired up. I immediately know the first video, it was "Why Ambit Works, It's Networking." I said, "Oh no, it's Amway, what has she done?" That's the first thing I said, you know, and if it wasn't for her making me promise to her, I would have definitely not finished. Well, by the time I got to that next video, all of a sudden it's talking about energy. Wait a minute, you don't have to sell this. Everybody's using this. This is perfect. This makes sense now. By the time I got to the next video, I was sitting, I can still picture this vividly, sitting on the edge of my chair saying, "Wait, there's 5 ways of making money in this. 5. 3 bonuses, 2 residual, what? Perfect. Dividends on a blue chip. I don't have that in my business." By the time I got to the last video, I said, "This business is too good to be true. There's got to be a catch. There has to be, you know." So with that, I called back Jen, and I said, "Jen, actually, I have a little bit of interest with this, but let me ask you a couple questions. Number one, you're already doing this, aren't you?" She goes, "Yes." I said, did you check it out?" "No." I said, "Are you just hoping it'll work?" She goes, "Yes." I says, all right, that's good. I said, here's what I need from you, though. I can't do that. I'm going to email you about 12 to 15 questions to see it was a test for Ambit because I still didn't believe it. All right, this is important. So I emailed these questions. The thing is, I'm in the industry already. You see, I understand this business, and so I gave them 15 questions that I knew the answers to. It was a test. Well, 48 hours later, she had to get rid of all the questions. She didn't know any answers. I get the answers back. It's 100%. I'm thinking, oh, man, this isn't that good. You know, because I didn't want to do this. I work 70 hours. I play golf. You know, I have a boat. So I don't have time for this. So I said, well, I'm going to really tear this apart now. So because of my contacts, I was able to call the Public Service Commission and get their opinion on Ambit. I was able to call National Grid Utility because my company, Eastern Energy Solutions, is a trade ally with them. I got the answers from them. I was able to call Shell Oil because I know people that could tell me how good Ambit was. I called the Better Business Bureau. I took 2 weeks researching this company, trying everything I could do to find holes in this business, everything. Well, I finally said I have the answer. I'm going to call up Global Energy because I knew Ambit was deployed in Chicago. And the owner of Global Energy, who I know very well, we do a lot of business with, knows everything about the industry. All right? He brokers all the deals for all the electricity in New Jersey, Massachusetts, Procter & Gamble plants. This guy's big, knows everything, very big guy. So I called him up, I said, hey, Jamie, how you doing? Good. We chatted a little bit. I said, hey, what do you know about Ambit Energy? He says, well, I know everything. You know that, Bob. You know? I says, okay, well, give it to me. Well, you know, it was interesting because he started talking to me about Ambit Energy, and I thought I was watching one of our business presentations. He was talking about Jerry Thompson. He was talking about Chris Chambliss, all the big money behind it, everything. I mean, everything was positive. So I said, Jamie, after about 20 minutes, I said, wait a minute. Jamie, I need some help here. Look, everything I've done to poke holes in this, I can't find any. Would you please give me a reason not to do this? And he says, oh, yeah, I'll tell you the whole, Bob. This is networking. You see, networking, if you don't get in early, the pie exponentially gets smaller every year. Well, I said, Jamie, it's not even open in NYSEG. We're only in 2 utilities in New York. We're in NICOR in Chicago. We're in Texas, except for where there's co-ops. And the best thing is there's 23 more states to go, 24 more states. And he goes, yeah, Bob, you haven't even reached the tip of the iceberg. So with that, I went back to my wife, who was the queen of all skeptics. All right, and justifiably so after 37 years with me and all the ideas I've had. You know, that's well deserved. All right, but she looked at this and she said, you know, this is a no-brainer if it's real. I said, well, I'm going to find out if it's real. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start this business. I'm going to buy one, and I'm going to try it every week for 6 months, 3 to 5 hours a week, structured. And then here's my best and worst case scenario, I told her. I said, look, it's $429. With the $25 a month, that's $600 for 6 months. If I crash and burn and it doesn't work in Afton, it doesn't work with NYSEG, and it's not everything it says it is, I'm going to take $5,000 worth of legitimate tax deductions, honest, legitimate tax deductions, and with that, at 40% federal and state marginal income, you know, we'll take a $2,500 tax credit against $600. I made $1,900, and all I did is spend a little bit of time. Right? I said, on the other hand, though, if it does everything it says, and if I can build this business to $2,000 a month, after 6 months, I'll continue to do this business. Well, that happened after 3 months. In fact, a quick story on that. The one thing about this business, anybody can do it. You know, you've heard that before. But the first 5 weeks in this business, I did everything wrong. I got a phone call 5 weeks into the business from John Haas. Now, I'd met John one time. And he says, oh, yeah, so you got a little activity going. I said, yeah, a little bit. And he says, you don't know what you're doing, do you? I says, no, I don't. And he says, well, you told me about a month ago that you didn't have any time. So if you don't have time, why don't you try plugging into Ray's system? He says, this system works. Try it for 2 months. Just try it blind faith. And I did that. And you know, it was really interesting. It actually worked. Within 3 months, we were making $2,000 a month, and we're doing better now. So if you fast forward to Ambition, which, by the way, was one of the best weekends I've ever experienced. I don't know about you attendings. And every one of you in this group, just to let you know, next Labor Day should have 10 to 100 people of your group there to experience that. It's awesome. Well, anyway, when I was leaving Ambition, I got on the airplane, and the first thing I did is I pulled this magazine out. And I'm sitting next to my buddy Keith Roughgarden. He's almost a senior consultant now. And I'm going through this, and I said, oh my gosh, if somebody could only read this article. And so I'd fold it over. You know, I'd go to another, oh my gosh, what an article. I got to get somebody to read this article. You know, Keith says, what are you doing over there? Because I was folding all these pages over, you know. And I says, read this stuff. So he starts reading. He says, oh my God, did you see this? You know, and so I'm getting excited about it. I said, somehow I have to figure out a way to get these people to read these articles. They're not going to read the whole book. They will after they read these articles. But then when I got to the airport, first thing I did is I went back and I took the CD out. Now, all of you have listened to this CD, I trust. If you haven't, you should listen to it about 4 different times, 5 different times. All right, it's about Jerry Thompson and Chris Chambliss. I get done listening to this CD, I say, oh my gosh, I have to have people listen to this CD. You know, I mean, they tell everything. They lay it out for you right now. Right now, they get it for you. So I said, if I can just get them to watch the CD, listen to the CD, and then figure out what's best in this magazine so it doesn't take them a lot of time, I can walk them through a process. So I did a little bit of homework that weekend and came up with a way to use this book that's been advantageous to us. And you can do this personally, hand it to somebody, or you can mail it. The most important thing is, before you start that though, is you have to get plugged in to the program Sunday night on www.ambittraining.net. Do exactly what Ray says. And if you can't make it Sunday at 7 o'clock, then you get on Monday night and you listen to John Haas at 9 o'clock. That's very important, because once you have that down to a system, you'll be able to get this magazine in your hand. And all you do is this with this magazine. This is all I do right now. We have a little sticker on the front of this magazine right here that gives them what to do. All right, if anybody wants these stickers, Sammy Moss is here today, and she's got them. Now, the first thing it says is turn to page 48. Listen to the audio. Boom, and I explain that to people. All right, if I'm mailing this out, I put that in there. Then next it says go to page 21. Read that article about energy is the best product. Now here's the key with that. Jerry and Chris have already laid the foundation on how fantastic Ambit is, recognizing an opportunity. What's important now? They've laid that. You're thinking about Ambit. Now you get to energy as a perfect product. What happens? You know, they're looking at this and saying, my gosh, Ambit's the only one that gives free energy. How terrific is that? Then they go to Article 17 on page 17. That's about deregulation. You see, when we do this business presentation many times, even when they look at the DVD, people might get a little bit intimidated with deregulation. But that page-and-a-half article that you read in 5 minutes explains it. That's all they need to know. And they'll say, oh my gosh, this isn't that difficult. Then you go to page 13, which is about networking. And whenever anybody says to me, by the way, how do I get by? It's a pyramid. I'll say, you haven't read article on page 13, have you? Go to that, because that's a powerful, generic article. See, the articles on 15 and 13 don't talk about Ambit, but you're thinking about Ambit. Then, the last thing they do is they go to our tremendous orange DVD. When they go through this now, we've set the stage. It works. It works very, very high percentage time. I also tend to put in one of these little articles here about Inc. 500, just to let them know that we are the best. But that's all I do, to let you know how that works. You know, this past week, 5 new consultants came into my business personal. Okay? This is how 3 of that worked, though. I called guys I hadn't talked to in years. One in Chicago, one in Maryland, and one in Florida. Okay? Smart people. I said, look, I have something you need to look at. Just like I listened to Ray and John talk about. That's all I said. Oh, what is it? It's an opportunity. I'm sending the information out. I sent them out a little handwritten thing, what to do. I sent them this magazine. Everyone called me back within 72 hours and said, hey, can you explain that for me a little bit more? I said, absolutely, but you need to talk to John Haas. See? John Haas talked to every one of those 3 people that I mailed this to within 24 hours. 2 of them that day called me up and said, let's get started. The next day, the other guy started. This business works, all right? I'm going to get the hook here in a second, so, you know, you only need 3. Sometimes it's going to be easy, you know, like Ray with Norbert. That's pretty nice. Good way to start, right? Otherwise, sometimes it takes a little bit longer, like when John sponsored Shane and Jen. That's all you need is 3. Just 3. Thanks very much, everybody.